So they'll get a brief handover from the paramedic on scene, detailing what equipment they might need, and they'll start preparing for the extrication and awaiting the fire brigade's arrival so that they can assist with removing the patient from the car. Sometimes takes them a while to arrive because they've probably been asleep on station. So once the fire brigade get out of the vehicle, our paramedic will give them a brief handover and they'll come together to formulate a plan for removing this patient from the vehicle. If it was life-threatening, there are things we can do to remove them very quickly, but in this case we're going to try and do the extrication in a safe manner to ensure there's no further injury. At this point, I'll hand over to our fire service colleagues who'll take you through their actions when they arrive.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, just to put some context into what's happening here, we have one crew of 4 firefighters faced with a situation that unfortunately is too common on all of our roads in Kent. Under normal practice, we'd have probably 2 or 3 pumps or appliances to an incident of this kind. Just to put you in the process of what we're doing, first of all, blocks here underneath the car. This stabilises the car. This will stop the car rocking from side to side. And the reason we need to do that is because that casualty has a back or neck injury. We can make that worse. We can make that worse simply by just moving the car. If her head rocks from side to side, we could either kill her or paralyse her. So the focus straight away for all of our emergency service personnel, including the paramedics, is the casualty. We need to make sure that she is going to come out of this vehicle safely. There's different processes that we've got. I've been given a brief by the paramedic with the white helmet that my team need to cut the roof off. They need to take the casualty through the roof that's removed onto a long board and then into the back of the ambulance via the stretcher. So that's the process that we're going to carry out. Now that could change. That could change because at any occasion the paramedics could say to us that her heart has stopped, she's having difficulty breathing and she needs to come out. So we work together to make sure that the casualty comes out safely and without making her injuries any worse. A couple of other things that are going on. You'll see that the crew at the front have used a glass saw and they're just cutting through the windscreen, and that will make cutting the roof off a lot easier. Yeah, that's fine. So we've got little bits of protection. One guy there at the back with a blue piece of plastic. That's there to stop any glass or pieces of metal flying through the car and covering the casualty or the paramedics inside the car. Firefighter at the front now is using what we call the jaws of life. These are like a pair of scissors, heavy-duty scissors, and they're now going to start going around the pillars and the posts of the car as quickly as possible. You also may have noticed that we took some glass away from the car, and that again, the car is very, very stretched, very strong with the glass intact. It actually makes it a lot easier for us if we take the glass away completely, and it makes cutting the car up a lot more simple. You may have also noticed right at the very beginning, we had the hose reel come off. That's for the protection of everybody. If there's a fire now, all of these personnel should be okay. The hose reel's full of water and we can use that straight away. So while we're going through the process of taking the roof off, those of you that did visit our stand today would have been given various messages about driving safely. This, unfortunately for us and the paramedics and the police, is something that happens far too often on Kent roads. We live in a very fast county. There's a lot of motorway and A roads in Kent, And this, unfortunately, is something that the Fire and Rescue Service see far too much of. We actually now attend more car crashes than we do house fires. So very good in one way that we're attending less house fires, but unfortunately we're still seeing far too many victims on our roads as a result of this. So any messages that you may have been given today by us or by any other of the road safety agents and partners behind you, please remember them, because this is life-changing. This is the sort of stuff that firefighters and the rest of the emergency service workers take home with them. This is the stuff that really upsets us and can really do some serious damage to us, as well as the families of the victims as well. So we'd rather not be doing this. We're making good progress. We always cut the pillar last, which is the one nearest to the person involved in the crash. And that's because we don't want the roof gradually lowering onto their head or actually doing any further damage to the people inside. And you notice how quickly it takes a team of just 3 guys to do this. If we, in the real world, had another couple of appliances, another couple of fire engines, we'd possibly have 7 or 8 guys doing this, and it actually becomes quite a quick process. Much more difficult if a car's on its roof, much more difficult if a car's on its side. A car full of young people. So we've got more than one crash victim. That's when it becomes really tricky and difficult work. So we ask you all to think about your driving habits. 95% of crashes that happen because of human error. It's not because of the car, it's not because of the road conditions, it's because of you. And we ask you all to become better drivers after today and after seeing this. So there isn't any changes to be made at the moment. The paramedics seem quite happy with everything. There's a person inside the car covered by the sheet, talking to the victim, making sure that there's a communication going on, telling them exactly what they're doing, the noises that they're hearing, and some of the words that are being used by the firefighters and paramedics, they can be explained. It's a scary place to be. People who we've spoken to in the past who have obviously survived these collisions tell you how scary it is. They think they're all going to die. And they don't. A lot of people don't, and it's down to the skill of everybody that you've seen involved in this this drill and this exercise today. That's the reason why lots of people don't die. They're very highly trained, very, very good at their jobs. Yeah, I'll do that. Ready to go now? One more. Okay, we're just going to do one more cut. Again, you see, once again, the piece of plastic going in after Dan picks it up. No glass, no metal coming into contact with the casualty or the paramedic inside the car. There we go, soft top. Now this is where we'll hand back to the paramedic to take you through the next part of the drill. This is because we're going to take the casualty out. Just to sort of briefly explain before we hand over, we're going to put a long board, piece of whiteboard down the back of the casualty's spine, and as a unit of paramedics and firefighters, we're going to take that person out of that car and hopefully not make the injuries any worse. You also see now the guys putting on some protection, magnetic protection on the car, and that's really just to cover up any sharp areas. So we don't want anybody sliding their arm on sharp metal or glass and giving themselves 50 stitches. So we do that, again, it's fully to protect the person in the car.
So the final little bit from us, the patient's obviously now ready to be removed from the vehicle. So as the fire officer explained, what we'll do is we'll slide a big white longboard down behind the patient, lower back the front seat so that her back's resting against the board, and then gradually slide her up it. You'll be able to see this happening, and there's the board right on cue. So that will get slid down shortly. The aim of this is to avoid moving the patient. The less we move this patient, the less likely we are to cause further injury.